Hey everybody, this is Brittany here with Surfing Waves of Light, and I just got out of the shower and had a nice download, and the guides really want to come through. This video will be called Not Doing What You Love is Literally Killing You. So enjoy. uh. Greetings, dear beings. We are the Arcturian Council, and we are pleased to be with you all. We were having some trouble getting this being started on this channeling tonight, as she is very tired. So, unlike our usual love to explore the verbiage and ways of expression that we can share a message, tonight we are going to keep this shorter and sweet. And so we begin. As this being has already told you, what sentence we communicated, what energy we sent down to her tonight is that, in truth, not doing what you love is literally killing you. And we express, when we look at the energetic makeup of each being on this planet existence, we see the entrance and exits of energies, the swirling of acceptance and the releasing of things. And so if you want to look at the energetic body in the traditional 7 chakra layer way, we will show you, we will tell you that what we see is the chakra in the middle, and then energies that loop in and out like a bow. And so energies flow like this, like a water fountain. They go up and out and come back in. And this is the natural flow of chakra energy, feeling into the environment around, bringing the energies back in. And there are a multitude of factors that allow this flow. As the energies are flowing, when they are flowing appropriately, there is no illness, there is no disease, there is no mental disease, there is no distress, just the flow of energies, the equilibrium fulfilled. And this is what the body looks like when the mind is complete and at peace. There is no blockage to the natural flow of energy, which always comes to you. You see, dear beings, the only way that you could not receive this energy is if you have a block to it. So unconditional love, the life you've always wanted, the peace, the harmony, the equanimity that you have always desired, it flows to you. But you have been conditioned with ideas and beliefs, and they have come in through the mind, and they play themselves out on the body through these chakras. And in bringing in a distorted belief or idea, what you do is you take that flow and you disrupt it. You either disrupt the ability for the energies to go out or for the energies to come in. Most of you are experiencing blockages in energies coming in, especially those of you who are drawn to help others, who are deep in exploration of the spiritual realm. There is a over-giving aspect that often comes as a distortion in these type realms, religions, giving circles, energetic, all of the above. there are also ways in which beings can block the energy going out. This is when the mind is full of resentments, hatreds, judgments against others who are actually just the self. So when we look at a being and we see that there is a misalignment in the energies, this is how we know that impending disease or illness or discomfort may be coming. So when we see someone with, let us say, a knee injury of some kind, we do not see a person who has physically hurt their knee. We see that there is some belief in the mind, there is some idea, there is some thought, there is something that is distorting the energy flow to that knee. For an area of the body cannot be injured or ill unless there is a distortion in the flow. There is some sort of misperception of the mind. And so the knee is hurt, or there is diabetes, or there are millions of other diseases. Each one will relate to at least one chakra, if not many. In fact, nowadays, there is so much trauma, there is so much misalignment, misbelief in the mind that there is a myriad of physical illnesses that are insistent upon many beings, especially those living in lower income areas. There is just so many. There are diabetes, there are heart attacks, there are strokes, there are injuries, there are traumas, physical illnesses, physical traumas, shootings, stabbings, etc. And yet these are playing out in the physical reality, but truly the origin comes from the mind. It comes from the training. Not that it was truly these beings free will to subject these things upon themselves. No one really has free will in the sense we are trying to describe when they allow themselves to forget and come to the earth plane, right? From that separated consciousness, that being is not at first experiencing the freest of will because it does not remember how to play the game. And yet the free will is seen fully at the higher self level, the higher consciousness aspect, when we remember or know or accept that we plan these lives, and while we plan these lives, we knew we would forget. And so free will is played out and then becomes more and more played out as time goes on, and the being comes into greater realization of how the game is played. For example, they look at their knee injury, they look at their heart attack, and they do not rely on the external reality to bring them the energy they need. They look within to see where that energy is already available to them and they are blocking it, and look at why they are blocking it. And this leads us to the topic of trauma. For trauma is, in our perspective, a distortion that is deeply ingrained in the energetic body, so deeply that instead of occasional blockages of a loop going out or in, we see a huge leakage, a pond, a puddle. This is how it will look to us. Instead of a nice straight bow going out, let us say someone has an outward energetic distortion, there will be a pool or pond of leaking energies that does not make it through the full loop. This is a trauma. This shows that the distortion is so deeply imprinted. There was such a heavy emotional trigger upon that distortion that it is very difficult for any energy or very little energy to get across. And this will create the loops of chronic illness. All chronic illness comes with some sort of trauma, with some sort of distorted loop mind thought. And this is something we want you to bring into your awareness. Yes, when physical illness impends, expresses on the physical body, we treat physically as well. But as we're treating physically, and especially once we become stable and we are in the more self-care, the home care aspect of healing, this is when you can take healing into your own hands, when you can begin to reflect upon this trauma, upon this area where energy is not able to flow fully. For it is in the flow of energy, it is in the surrender, the peace, the lack of distortion, that the body, that the mind could live on here for ages. And yet, once a mind has mastered peace, there becomes much less of a reason to stay on planet Earth. Once you remember, once you are peaceful and in full surrender, well, in some ways, it defeats the purpose of the game. When you created this game, you decided that you wanted to watch yourself come into awareness, come into new understandings and evolutions. And that was part of why you came here, to see what your soul would do in those situations. And a gift it is. And yet it is easy to become stuck in the traumas. And so traumas are just ingrained. They are just deeply ingrained, distorted energies, and they require more love, more attention. And we will say this too, dear beings. Many of you with traumas have lived lives, you have created lives that are handicapped around this trauma. And so healing that, once it is deeply ingrained into the life patterns, this takes much more concentrated focus and effort. It takes much more of a persistent discipline of the mind. It takes time. Just as the habit developed, the habit must be released. And know too, dear beings, that trauma is not limited to the high intensity explosions of war or the physical assault that could be witnessed in the home between parents who are not in good standing. No, you see, trauma is really based on a perceptual basis. It is per person. If there is a situation that evokes a deep, heated, heavy emotion to surface, if there is a distortion in the mind that is not able to interpret that situation as loving, or sees it as completely the opposite of love, it is the intensity of the emotion, of the response, of the misperception that determines how intense, how deep the trauma will be. And typically the heavier this emotion, the deeper the trauma, the more the shock, the more the body tries to forget again, as that is one of the coping mechanisms it can use. It pushes away, and in that realm forces these energies to play out in the subconscious and unconscious, in that excuse me, this being will have difficulties in life that will play out, seemingly unrelated, and yet they are. So we want you to take this information in and know that we are telling you this because when you love what you do, when you are fully in alignment which is constantly evolving and changing, and yet when you are in alignment, when you are living out your purpose from equanimitable root, sacral, solar plexus, heart, throat, third eye, and crown chakras, this is when, like a waterfall, all beautifully flows. When you allow your energy, your love, your creativity to move out into the world, and then also receive the energetic abundance, which is actually the same as putting out the artistic, the love, the creativity, it must come back. And when you are firing that sort of love on all levels in true alignment, there is plenty of flow to every area of the body to prevent injury, to protect areas, to keep life so magical and perfect that injury would not be felt or seen or thought of. It would be out of the picture. It would be not even considered. It is only through the distortions and trainings of this planet, the programming of the television and the schools, that has been the thing that has filled up your 7 chakras with gunk and junk and rosin, all the hard, sticky ideas, ones, not just oil, literally sticky ideas, ones that it is hard to unstick. And that is why so many of you have distortions in the flow. All of you have distortions in the flow, basically, from at least one chakra. That is part of the healing that comes along with ascending from the 3D to the 5D consciousness as you perceive it. And so we want you to know that everything you're experiencing is honored by us. It is held by us. And we tell you this not to scare you, for many of the distortions, they move at a slow rate. There could be a small leak in the chakra, and you will be given many years to figure that out. There is no God from above who is saying, if so-and-so does not figure this distortion out within X number of years, we will smite him and kill him and cause him pain. No. The guides and teachers that supervise this project you are all playing out here on Earth, they reserve the dying process for beings who have placed that process into their plan, or for beings who are so far off track and suffering so much that they would not be able to come into any sort of peace, any sort of love, any sort of possibility that they could live out their highest path and purpose. And so the dying process can sometimes be a protective mechanism for beings who are so deep in the 3D consciousness that the suffering feels so real that it is no longer loving to allow that being to play this game. And while free will is never directly impinged upon, know that you each came into this realm with a limit of suffering that was also part of your free will, to choose how much you would be willing to suffer. And we promise you, dear beings, that you only choose levels that your soul is appropriated for. And we go further to say that all suffering is self-imposed. It is all coming from within your distortions. So once you clear the distortions, there is no suffering. But the suffering comes and occurs typically when beings are in the lower frequency consciousnesses in which there is no search in the emotional, mental, and spiritual levels for the distortions of the mind. No, everything is physically focused. That is the illusion. That is the block. That is the distortion. That you could heal something physical on a deep core level by looking at the physical aspect of it. As many great channelers have said in the past, the body is like this projected image from a projector on the screen. You need to go into the projector, the mind, to fix the body, to fix the knee, to fix the heart, to fix the diabetes, to fix whatever it is. Also knowing that that illness was given to you because that was part of your journey. This time around, you planned that for yourself. You said, if this chakra gets out of alignment, if I am not allowing flow back in, then I will manifest nodules on my vocal cords, or I will manifest sore throats or tonsillitis. And so you can remove the tonsils, you can remove all that you want, but until you remove the distortion, that is the real cure. That would be the most fantastic surgery, if they could go in and remove the distortion with their physical tools. And yet they cannot do that at this time, but sometimes the surgery will allow beings to have a brief reprieve from their guilt and shame and sorrow and suffering, or whatever distortion there is, because they're put in a much more life or death situation, and that evokes within them more presence. And even beings deeply traumatized can move through these traumas and can allow energy back or out, whichever is distorted, through the practice of presence, through truly finding peace, even if only for a moment. When this being does her healing touch, her energy work, her Reiki on her clients, what she sees in the energetic body is that the second beings let go and they begin to relax through the assisted facilitation of her presence and the energies that flow through her, the second they relax, the chakras open up and the energy is allowed in. And we want you to recognize this. We want you to recognize that your relaxation, that your peace really is the key. It is the key to manifesting physical vitality, clear and unwrinkled skin, movement, and feeling good in the back and in the knees and in the hips, all these places where pain is accumulated. Because as the life goes on, pain, the pains, the traumas of life that are not dealt with, They must show themselves on the projector so that maybe the consciousness will begin to become aware. It is a last-ditch effort in some ways, but in other ways, it is how the subconscious can communicate with the conscious to assist them in learning how to play the game better and really healing. And when it is time for that healing to occur, it will. And until then, we can trust and know that each being is still learning from their current circumstance as they chose it, as they are. And so we tell you that not doing what you love is physically, literally killing you, because we want you to know that it is of the utmost importance to do what you love, to take the steps towards doing what you love. And in this realm, it can take time, but as you move through the process to get there, you will heal every chakra in perpetuity, in gratitude, and you will find that the art of doing what you love creates a whole new currency for receiving that will continue to elevate you and escalate you to the levels that are often seen in the rock stars and actresses and actors. Not that it is that level of fame, but it is that level of receiving love. Because when you choose to do what you love, you say to the world, I am offering the best possible aspect of myself to be given to the world. And so your work should be what you feel is the best gift you have to offer. That is the most appropriate way to work on this planet. And when you do what you love, there is less work and headaches and much more enjoyment and creativity. And this is what continues to give back, not because you are giving to others and they are giving to you, but because it allows you to close the loop of energy. That is your right, that is your norm when you are not stuffed with garbage from the moment that you are born into this planet, and from the second you can speak, you are told not to talk, and you are shoved with ideas and asked to sit in a chair and override your guidance system again and again and again. And this kind of reality, however cruel it may seem, could not exist if you were not messed with from a young age. And so that is the journey. That is how you can trust that what is happening is purposeful, because there is no loving plane that takes children and silences them. In fact, when you are full of love, any being newly born into this dimension is honored as a God, as a wise being, as one who is connected, because they are not tarnished. They are not blemished by the distortions of the three-dimensional world. They are still very much in tune. And from that tune, we, all smart beings, all beings aligned with love, would want to resonate with that tune, not destroy it, not shut it down. And that is what these times are about. They are about coming back into love. They are about allowing your energy to flow like a waterfall in and out through the giving and receiving of yourself. And in this flow, beautiful lives on earth, heaven on earth is manifest, and there becomes no problems, there becomes no issues, because you tune into what is real. And what is real is that you are loved so unbelievably, unconditionally, that there is nothing you could do that would ever upset your guides and teachers. There is not one shameful, resentful, uncourageous, low frequency moment that would ever stop your guides from loving you. And every other being on this planet, when not in separated form, when tuned into the loving consciousness, is also aware of that. And on a deep, deep level, every being is aware of that. So when you decide to start looking at your traumas, when you decide to start moving through them, we offer this advice. 1, choose one at a time, for you can only be present to and heal one trauma at a time. And 2, Do not judge yourself as you go through the process. Remember, bring into your mind constantly that there are energies that are within your consciousness reach that love you so unconditionally, that will hold out the red carpet of healing for you as you set your intention and set your focus and discipline on it. We are the Arcturian Council, and we love you, and so we tell you, do what you love and fill your physical body with vitality, with life, and overcome the illusion that is death. We are the Arcturian Council, and we are so pleased to be speaking with you tonight. We are going to let this being go to bed, and we will speak to you again soon at another time. All right. I love the guides. They're so funny. I've really been allowing, judging myself less and allowing more of their humor to come through. I used to think channeling was really serious, and the more that I let go and allow, I just realize how funny this whole thing is. And the guides, their advice, their love, love is funny, you know. Laughing, it's a great expression of love. So they're going to continue to make us laugh as we go through this journey that can be quite tough sometimes. And I think from even laughter, our chakras open up and align, because we are just in the joy, we're in the moment, we're present. When something's funny, we're definitely present. So they're going to keep making us laugh. You keep making yourself laugh, and go within your heart and figure out what you love to do. That's the hardest part, I think. It's taken me years to figure it out. I'm going to close the video with this, because this is kind of what inspired me to do this channeling tonight. And now the guides, you know, they're telling me to do this. So, the past 2 months have been kind of difficult. There's been a lot going on. I don't really need to get into it, but I've definitely been experiencing some sadder moments, some moments of perceived suffering. And I was on YouTube one night, and this video called Heal Your Inner Child came on. And there was a suggestion in the comments to listen to the video and write a letter to your inner child. And they said they received profound healing. And sometimes it's hard for me to sit down and focus on my traumas or things that had happened to me as a child. Not that anything super traumatic happened, but like the guide said, trauma isn't just one thing. It's really comes down to the perception of the person who feels they've been traumatized. So I wrote this letter, and I'm going to share it with all of you. And at the end, the guides come through. So this is a little out of my comfort zone, but I did receive some profound healing and some more guidance about what I really love to do. It's pretty funny, the illusions we can live under. So anyway, and I'll post the link to the YouTube video in the description, because it's so good. So my letter goes like this. Dear inner child, I'm sorry for all the times they told you to stop singing. All the times they told you your voice was not good enough, or they felt annoyed with your voice. I'm sorry if anyone ever halted your expression and told you to be scared of shining your light brightly into the world. You were always so brave. You always returned to those beings and brought your best, most loving self. Why do you let those comments hurt you? Why now do you feel small, vulnerable, and not good enough? Why do you place expectations on yourself, dear inner child? You still are and always will be. Never play the game as anything more than a child. The belief in adulthood will beat you up, will take away your fame, and block your bright light. I'm so sorry they told you not to sing. Singing is your gift to the world. You love to sing, so sing more. Sing more for yourself and more for the world. Sing your way to $7 million a year. This is your happiest way to accomplish this mission. Everything is always working out for you. The universe has your back, dear child, for that is what you are. You can be anything you want. Sing from your heart. Let no voice stop you. Sing, sing, sing. So that was a letter that I wrote to myself. When I was younger, a lot of people told me that I sucked at singing and told me not to sing. And it was never unloving, but I think I took it really personally. I perceived it really heavily and allowed it to affect me, some major insecurity I had. And yeah, I wasn't even thinking about that at all. But the second I sat down to write a letter to myself, that came up. So now I'm taking some small steps to do more singing and music, and never believed in myself in that way, but I do feel a lot of joy and happiness, and I can see the flow coming back to me in different ways, even like feeling less cravings for food and feeling more happy at work. Feel like I'm on to something here. So I wanted to share that with you. I hope you enjoyed this video. Do what you love so it doesn't kill you slowly. The guy just said slowly. Fill up your cup, fill up your chakras, and float through this planet, because that is an option once we heal those traumas and heal those perceptions that are off. Love you guys so much. Thanks for listening to this video, and we'll speak to you again at another time. Bye.